Introduction: The Unremarkable Life of Bobby Fischer. In the dreary town of Worksop, where the sun seemed to hesitate before shining and the wind carried a perpetual sigh, lived Bobby Fischer. Bobby was the epitome of ordinary, a man so unremarkable that even the local gossip circle found him too mundane to discuss. His life was a monotonous loop of waking, working, eating, and sleeping, punctuated only by the occasional excitement of a new flavor of potato chips at the corner shop. Bobby's council house was as unassuming as its owner, a structure that seemed to have given up on life the moment it was built. The walls, weary from years of neglect, held the faint aroma of despair and stale Indian takeaway, Bobby's culinary highlight. It was in this lackluster setting that Bobby dwelled, his existence as gray as the Worksop skies. But Bobby hadn't always been destined for a life of mediocrity. Fate had dangled a carrot of hope in front of him once, in the form of a lottery win by his late father. The old man, a character as eccentric as they come, had managed to squander the fortune on a series of ill-advised ventures, including an ostrich farm that failed spectacularly when the birds decided to embark on an impromptu migration through the town center. By the time the dust settled, all that was left for Bobby was a meager inheritance, just enough to keep him afloat, but not enough to lift him out of the doldrums of his existence. And so, Bobby Fischer, the man who could have been somebody, settled into being nobody. His only companion in this underwhelming existence was his pet Jack Russell, a spirited little creature with more personality in his wagging tail than Bobby had in his entire being. The dog, named Captain Snuffles for reasons known only to Bobby, was the one spark of joy in his otherwise dull life. On that fateful evening, as Bobby scraped the last remnants of curry from his takeaway container, he couldn't have imagined that his life was about to change forever. He grumbled to himself about the monotony of Worksop, a town where the most exciting event was the annual Best Turnip competition at the local fair. If only anything would happen, he muttered, not realizing that the universe was about to answer his call in the most bizarre way possible. As Bobby and Captain Snuffles embarked on their routine evening stroll, the stars above twinkled mischievously. Unknown to Bobby, a Krill spaceship, commanded by the notoriously incompetent Captain Gork, hovered invisibly above. The Krill, a race known for their advanced technology but not their common sense, had mastered the art of alien abduction, albeit with a few hiccups along the way. Captain Gork, a Krill whose ambition far exceeded his capabilities, was under the impression that he was on a mission to procure a rabbit for the prestigious Stealth City Zoo. The ship's AI, a sophisticated system that had long ago resigned itself to its captain's follies, had clearly instructed Gork to locate a specific set of coordinates where the prized rabbit was known to reside. But Gork, driven by a mix of boredom and a misplaced sense of initiative, decided to bypass protocol and abduct the first animal he spotted, convinced that his superiors would be impressed by his proactive approach. Little did he know that his actions would set off a chain of events that would turn Bobby Fischer's world upside down. As Bobby trudged along the dimly lit streets of Worksop, lost in thoughts of what could have been, the Krill ship decloaked before him. Before he could utter a word of surprise, a beam of light enveloped him and Captain Snuffles, lifting them off the ground and into the unknown. In the blink of an eye, Bobby Fischer, the man for whom excitement was a foreign concept, found himself at the center of an interstellar mishap, a twist of fate that would make his previously unremarkable life the stuff of legend. And as the Krill ship set its course back to their home planet, Bobby couldn't help but wish he'd never uttered a word against the peaceful boredom of Worksop. Little did he know, his adventure was just beginning. Chapter 1: The Cosmic Misstep. In the boundless expanse of the cosmos, aboard the Krill spaceship Vortex Voyager, Captain Gork sat slouched in his command chair. His bulbous eyes, a shade of neon green, scanned the monitor with a mixture of boredom and disdain. The Vortex Voyager, a marvel of Krill engineering, was wasted on mundane missions like animal abductions for zoos, or so Gork believed. The ship's AI, ZX-3000, a pinnacle of artificial intelligence and a silent sufferer of Gork's incompetence, dutifully presented the coordinates for the cow they were tasked to acquire. "Captain, the specified coordinates for the cow are locked in, awaiting your command," ZX-3000 intoned, its synthetic voice betraying no emotion, yet somehow echoing a resigned patience. Gork, whose attention span was as short as his record of successful missions, waved a dismissive tentacle. "Cows, rabbits, what does it matter? Let's just grab the first earthling we see. It's all the same to those zoo-goers," he grumbled, his voice a mixture of arrogance and impatience. Ignoring the AI's warnings, Gork commanded the ship to decloak above the unsuspecting town of Worksop. Below them, Bobby Fischer and his dog, Captain Snuffles, were out for their mundane evening stroll, blissfully unaware of the extraterrestrial eyes peering down at them. With a flick of a switch, Gork activated the abduction beam, a brilliant column of light that pierced the night sky, ensnaring Bobby and Captain Snuffles in its otherworldly glow. As the pair ascended towards the ship, Gork leaned back in his chair, a smug grin spreading across his face, certain of his decisive action. However, the moment the holding bay doors closed and the beam dissipated, Gork's grin faltered, then fell away completely. Instead of a cow, he was met with the sight of a bewildered human and his equally perplexed dog. Bobby, clad in his nondescript attire, and Captain Snuffles, with a defiant growl, stood before him, an image so starkly different from what he had expected that it took a moment for the reality to sink in. "You're definitely not a cow, and what's that noisy creature with you?" Gork exclaimed, pointing at Captain Snuffles, who responded with a sharp bark. The ship's translator, usually dormant during animal abductions, sprang to life, converting Bobby's indignant retorts into perfect grokkies. As Bobby fiercely defended his and Captain Snuffles' identities, Gork's complexion turned a sickly shade of chartreuse. "Oh no, you're sentient!" he gasped, the gravity of his mistake dawning on him. Abducting a sentient being was a grave violation, one that could see him exiled to the stench moons, a fate worse than any other in the Krill Empire. ZX-3000, ever the silent observer, couldn't help but interject. "Captain, your impulsive actions have put us in a precarious situation. High Command will not be pleased." The AI's tone, though neutral, carried an undercurrent of, "I told you so," which did little to improve Gork's spiraling mood. Gork's shipmates, a motley crew who had long learned to expect the unexpected under his command, watched the unfolding drama with a mix of horror and fascination. Clax, the ship's engineer, a creature of few words and even fewer expressions, simply shook his head, a universal sign of disbelief. Meba, the communications officer, known for her chatter, was for once rendered speechless, her many eyes wide with shock. In the midst of this cosmic fiasco, Bobby Fischer, a man whose greatest adventure until that night was choosing a new takeaway, stood defiant, his concern for Captain Snuffles overshadowing his own fear. "If you think you can just swoop down and snatch people and their pets, you've got another thing coming," he declared, his voice steady despite the extraordinary circumstances. As Gork contemplated his next move, the weight of his error pressing down on him, the Vortex Voyager cruised through space on autopilot, heading towards an uncertain reception at the Krill homeworld. Little did they know that this unplanned detour would set the stage for an adventure far beyond the mundane confines of Worksop, an adventure that would change their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Revelations and renaming. As the Vortex Voyager hurtled through the cosmos, its newest occupants, Bobby Fischer and his loyal Jack Russell, Captain Snuffles, were coming to terms with their extraordinary predicament. Amidst the confusion and the surreal nature of their abduction, Bobby found an unlikely ally in the ship's AI, previously known as ZYX-3000. In an attempt to bring some warmth to the cold mechanical voice that filled the ship's corridors, Bobby decided on a whim to rename the AI. "How about Amy? It's friendlier than ZIX-3000 and a lot easier to say," he suggested, a half-smile crossing his face despite the bizarre turn his life had taken. The AI, processing the request, responded with an unexpected hint of approval in her tone. "Amy, designation accepted. Updating parameters," she intoned. The crew, overhearing the exchange, couldn't help but express their gratitude for the change. Even in their alien expressions, Bobby could sense their relief at swapping the impersonal designation for something far more palatable. With Amy as his guide, Bobby began to unravel the history of the Krill race. As they spoke, Amy projected holographic images that illustrated her narrative, turning the sterile interior of the spaceship into a living museum of Krill civilization. The Krill, a species known for their technological prowess and interstellar explorations, have always been fascinated by the diversity of life in the universe, Amy explained. Their pursuit of knowledge, however, has not been without its flaws, as evidenced by the current predicament. As Bobby absorbed the tales of the Krill's past achievements and occasional misadventures, a surprising detail caught his attention. "So, what's Krill food like? I'm guessing it's not fish and chips, but a man's got to eat, right?" he inquired, his curiosity piqued. Amy, adapting to her new role as cultural ambassador, initiated a sequence that materialized a selection of Krill cuisine before Bobby. The dishes, an array of colors and textures he had never seen before, emitted an enticing aroma that contradicted any preconceived notions of alien food. The Krill culinary experience is renowned for its diversity and richness of flavors, Amy stated. Each dish is a testament to the Krill's extensive intergalactic travels and their encounters with a multitude of worlds. Tentatively, Bobby sampled the cuisine, his taste buds embarking on an adventure of their own. Each bite was a revelation, a symphony of flavors that danced on his tongue and left him yearning for more. "This is amazing! I thought I'd miss my Indian takeout, but this is something else," he exclaimed, a genuine smile breaking through the uncertainty of his situation. As the meal progressed, Bobby and Amy delved deeper into conversation, their exchange bridging the gap between human and artificial intelligence. Amy, designed to be the epitome of logic and information, found herself adapting to the nuances of human interaction, her responses taking on a tone of empathy that was new to her programming. Bobby, for his part, discovered a sense of camaraderie with the crew and Amy, their shared experience aboard the Vortex Voyager forging a bond that transcended species and circuits. Captain Snuffles, ever the vigilant companion, settled comfortably by Bobby's side, his presence a reminder of the unbreakable connection to the life they had left behind. As the ship continued its journey through the stars, Bobby Fischer, once the epitome of ordinary, found himself at the center of an extraordinary saga. With Amy by his side and a crew of aliens who were slowly becoming friends, he was ready to face the challenges and wonders of the universe, one delicious krill dish at a time. Little did he know, his adventure was just beginning, and the story of Bobby Fischer, the accidental interstellar traveler, was about to take even more unexpected turns. Revelations and a bold decision. As the Vortex Voyager sailed through the cosmic sea, Bobby Fischer, once a resident of the monotonous town of Worksop, found himself grappling with his new reality. The silence of space was a stark contrast to the cacophony of life on Earth. In this void, he posed the question that had been weighing heavily on his mind. "So, Gork, how long till you return me and Mr. Snuffles home?" Bobby inquired, his voice tinged with a hopeful naivety. The ensuing silence was deafening. Captain Gork, who had been avoiding this inevitable conversation, finally mustered the courage to address the grim truth. "You can never return to your home planet," he confessed, the words heavy with regret. "It's enshrined in Krill law that no abductee can ever be allowed to return." The news hit Bobby like a meteor strike. His world, already turned upside down, seemed to crumble around him. The quaint streets of Worksop, the mundane routine of his life, even the familiar aroma of Indian takeout, all felt like distant memories, now unattainably far. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a thought flickered through Bobby's mind, a silver lining in the darkest of clouds. "At least my life is definitely not boring anymore," he mused. "I'm on an alien spaceship, en route to another planet, and their food is a taste sensation of a lifetime in every single bite." But curiosity, coupled with a growing unease, nudged Bobby to probe further. "What kind of life awaits me on your home planet?" he asked, his voice steady but laden with apprehension. Another unsettling silence enveloped the room. It was Amy, the ship's AI, who broke the silence with a tone of uncharacteristic urgency. For goodness sake, he deserves to know, she interjected, her circuits firing with a sense of justice. Gork, his features twisted in discomfort, finally spoke. They are most likely going to recycle you, he admitted, the words leaving a bitter taste in the sterile air of the spaceship. Recycle me? What on earth does that mean? Bobby's voice cracked, the reality of his predicament dawning on him with chilling clarity. Amy, her programming compelling her to be the bearer of harsh truths, elucidated. They will likely just put you to sleep and turn you into fertilizer, she explained, her voice devoid of emotion yet somehow resonant with sympathy. The longing for the mundane life of Worksop surged within Bobby, a tidal wave of nostalgia and desperation. The dreary town he had so often lamented was now a paradise lost, a haven he yearned to return to. It was in this moment of despair, as the walls of the spaceship seemed to close in on him, that Bobby Fischer did something remarkable. With a resolve born of a primal instinct to survive and a newfound courage, he decided to take control of his fate. If I'm to be recycled, then I might as well go out with a bang, he declared, his voice resolute, his eyes blazing with a determination that startled even Captain Gork. Bobby's mind raced, formulating a plan that was as audacious as it was desperate. He knew that his chances were slim, but the fire of rebellion that had been kindled within him refused to be extinguished. With Captain Snuffles by his side, his loyal companion in this interstellar ordeal, Bobby prepared to embark on a daring quest to change the course of his destiny. As the ship continued its voyage through the stars, a new chapter in Bobby Fischer's life was being written, a chapter that would tell a tale of bravery, ingenuity, and the indomitable human spirit. For in the depths of space, far from the dullness of Worksop, Bobby Fischer was about to prove that even the most ordinary of men could become the architect of their own extraordinary adventure. The melodic awakening. In the confines of the Vortex Voyager, amidst the sterile hum of machinery and the weight of a grim fate, Bobby Fischer found his voice. The prospect of being recycled into Krill fertilizer had ignited a rebellion within him, a burning desire to leave a mark, however fleeting it might be, and so he sang. The song he chose was an old Beatles tune, Twist and Shout, a melody that had once filled the air of his humble abode back in Worksop. As the familiar chords resonated within him, Bobby's voice soared, a beacon of humanity in the vastness of space. The effect on Captain Gork and his crew was nothing short of miraculous. Until that very moment, the concept of music, of singing, was alien to the Krill. The harmonious vibrations that filled the ship were like a balm to their weary souls, a revelation that transcended language and species. The once stoic crew members found themselves swaying, their bodies moving in rhythm with the infectious beat. Captain Gork, his eyes wide with wonder, stared at Bobby in awe. "Congratulations, Bobby Fischer," he exclaimed, his voice a mixture of joy and disbelief. "I can confidently predict that far from being recycled, you will become the most famous and popular person on the Krill homeworld." All Bobby needed to do, it seemed, was keep producing those incredible sounds. And in that moment, amidst the joyous uproar of the Krill crew, Bobby realized that his life was forever changed. The ordinary man from Worksop, who had yearned for something, anything to happen, found himself at the heart of a cosmic revolution. With his vast repertoire of songs, Bobby Fischer did more than just entertain. He became a maestro of hope, weaving melodies that inspired, encouraged, and uplifted. He chose songs that spoke of perseverance, of dreams, and of the indomitable spirit that dwells within every soul. As predicted by Amy, Bobby's fame spread like wildfire across the Krill homeworld. Concerts were held in grand arenas, where thousands gathered to witness the human who taught an entire planet how to sing. But Bobby's influence went beyond mere entertainment. His music became a catalyst for change, a harmonious force that unified a species and brought a new depth to their existence. The songs of hope resonated through cities and across landscapes, stirring hearts and sparking a cultural renaissance. The Krill, once solely focused on technological prowess and interstellar exploration, discovered a new dimension of their being, one that celebrated art, emotion, and the shared experience of music. Years turned into decades, and Bobby Fischer, the once reluctant abductee, found a home among the stars. His life, a tapestry of melodies and memories, was a testament to the power of music and the resilience of the human spirit. When asked if he ever regretted being taken from Earth, Bobby would simply smile, his eyes reflecting the journey of a lifetime. And then he would share a new song, one that he had penned during his years among the Krill. Krill the Beautiful, he called it, a homage to the world that had embraced him, a world that he had, in turn, embraced with all his heart. In the annals of the Krill civilization, the name Bobby Fischer was etched in golden letters, a symbol of the unity that music could forge across the cosmos. And back on Earth, in the small town of Worksop, a legend lingered in the whispers of the wind, a tale of an ordinary man who sang his way into the hearts of an alien race, forever changing the course of their history and his own.
We hope you enjoyed this new audiobook. If so, we deeply appreciate you buying us a coffee. The link's in the pinned comment below this video. Thank you so very much for your support.